ideas I've presented, right? That's good, first step. But what about taking into account people's selfishness? But that's the whole point of being a Muslim. What is a Muslim? Somebody who submits their will to their creator, right? I may want to get drunk. Well, I don't, but I'm saying, right? I may. Like, it's not my thing, throwing up on University Avenue in my own pee. No, anyway, so I live close here. I drive by here all the time, trust me, right? So it's not my thing. But let's say I did, but I would say I submit my desires to my creator. My creator knows better. Look, we pray 5 times a day. One of them is early, like 5 a.m. early, right? It's not easy, right? You're tired, you're in bed, it's nice, you've got that REM sleep going, and now it's prayer time. But that's the thing, that's what a Muslim is, who steps on their desires, on their own selfishness, to do what Allah, what our Creator has ordained. And that's why you see many Muslims around the world they're very strict. If you go to Muslim countries, for example, in the month of Ramadan, you will see charity like you wouldn't believe. People will come to a mosque that they don't know anybody, and they will put like 10 grand to feed everybody in the neighborhood. That kind of thing goes on. And there may still be some people who will be selfish. But even if a few, we just gave an example of one man, were to adopt such morals, we could end world hunger. We're not saying every rich person, but even a few, right? So, if you like those ideas, then every one of us at a grassroots level have to start implementing it. Right? If me and you accept Islam, and if me and you start bringing these morals into our life, then we begin the change. Don't expect change to come from the top, because the top is too busy being rich and enjoying it. Right? It's got to come from the bottom. But it will grow, and as it grows, it happens. In history, if you look up Umar ibn Abdul Aziz or these kinds of people in the Islamic history, you will find in their times there was nobody to take charity. Because when people were living those morals, that kind of hunger had finished. You're always going to have somebody who's less advantaged and more advantaged, but at least you won't have somebody going to bed hungry. At least you won't have people starving around the world. At least you won't have people without homes. Imagine if 2.5% of that wealth that's in San Diego, just San Diego, right? Let's not all San Diego, half of San Diego, gives only 2.5%. We could build houses for all the homeless. We could set up industries with that money. Right? Not where a church takes 70% of the money and gives 30% for show. Not all these organizations. I mean, you go to many of these charity organizations and they take the I'm not trying to mention names here, but you know, Red Cross. So you go to these organizations and you look at their operating budget. Their CEOs are making millions of dollars. Millions. That's charity. Like me and you are putting $10 for that charity, and he's making $1 million. How much of that money is making it to the poor? In Islam, that money doesn't go to the imam. Like you see in other places where the imam or the priest or the minister or the whatever else gets that money and then, you know, builds their own mansions and all that kind of stuff. That's not in Islam. It doesn't go to the mosque. This goes to the needy, right? Some people are going to stay selfish, but if people like me and you start, then we make a change. Good. Other questions? Ready? All right, she's becoming Muslim today. Next, more questions.
Can I make a quick announcement?
Sure.
We have a sign-in sheet going around. If everyone can scan it on their phone and then fill out the form. And this is not the sign-in sheet for your classroom. That's another sheet that we're going to be providing to you at the end of the event. So if you could all please fill that out, that would be really appreciated. Thank you.
All right, come on. Questions. There you go.
Can I just add on to what she said?
Sure.
There was a time at a point where alcohol was halal, meaning like it was allowed to drink. But then God seen that people weren't praying, people were messing up, people were being lazy, drunk, stuff like that, and they weren't being responsible. So there's a reason why it's haram now. You know what I mean? Right. So it's just like something for you to know. I know you're talking about like selfishness. It's there for, God put this rule in place, you know, for our safety, you know, for our concerns. If alcohol was allowed, you see a lot of people not going to jobs. You see a lot of people, you know what I mean, messing up. So that's the reason why it's banned.
Nice. Right. Go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Go ahead.
Could that not just be like a personal thing now?
Sure.
Like
so
you should have your own self-control if that's like something that's
excellent.
You should be able to like balance both.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Have you ever met a drunk?
No, not really.
Really? Never? And you go to state? Come on. Let's just be honest here, right? I'm just playing. All right. If you ever, I know you don't. You're study all night, right? I got you, right? Is your mom here? No, I'm just kidding. No. So I have met drunks in my life. I have met people who alcohol has ruined their life. And if you ever ask any of them, do you have a problem? Be like, no, I'm fine. Give me my keys, right? Nobody thinks they have a problem. Right? If you look at a person who's hooked on heroin, or if you look at somebody who's a kleptomaniac, or somebody who robs banks, and you ask them, why don't you just control yourself? Right? The problem gets to be, in society, we make laws to prevent ourselves from our own selves, right? Meaning, why do we have laws? Like, for example, when you bring your car, why do you lock it? Right? It should be that you just leave your car open and everybody's honest enough that they don't touch your car. But the reality is some people can't. Right? So you have to put in those laws, right? So if you look at alcohol, if you look at the benefits of alcohol, right? Health benefits, they will be nothing compared to the harms that come out of it. Right? If you look at it as a society, if you just look at it as an individual, then everybody thinks I can control it. Right? Everybody who's ever got into a car and hit somebody because they were drunk thought they could drive home. Right? But our Creator knows better. Our Creator knows better what's good and what's bad. So that's why there are things that are there as tests for us in this world, but we're not supposed to go to them. And we see in society that if we were to take that option away, that if we were to say, look, alcohol is not acceptable, then 95,000 more people would be alive. Right? What's the down of it? You don't get to throw up on yourself on Saturdays, right? I mean, there are things you can do for fun. There are things that you can go and enjoy. But things that cause 100,000 deaths, people talk about gun violence and things like this, but look at this. Look at these stats, right? I know prohibition didn't work out in the US, and I understand why. Because it was a government-run program. It was not a spiritual program. It was not a religious program. But if you look in many Muslim countries, and you just look at the statistics of drunk driving, and you can Google it yourself, you will find they're minuscule. Why? Because alcohol is not accepted as a society, as a religious value. So imagine in our society if we had that. No doubt everybody should be able to control themselves, but we know humans can't. Right? More questions?